Okay, so we're going to cover the mixing of the drums, the crazy, using Logic. So very similar to what you're doing in Pro Tools. Going to use very similar plugins, similar settings. It's just to show you in a different program. So I've got my drums loaded up at the moment, and this is what they sound like dry. So with no processing at all. So they're quite feeble sounding, there's not a lot of punch to them. So we're going to start with the kick drum and see what we can do with it. So I've got all my drums going out of this drum bus at the moment, we'll come to that at the end. So first thing with the kick, a little bit of spill going on. So the first thing I'm going to do, turn that one up, I'm going to pop a noise gate on it to try and filter out some of that spill. So when I turn the threshold up, that snare should start to disappear. So we've just got the isolated kick. We've got quite a quick attack and sort of quick to medium release, so it's just clamping down on any of the short transient sounds in between the kick and just leave me with that one kick sound I want. If the attack was too long, you'd be chopping off too much of the start of the kick drum, so you get a sort of fade-in sound, which you don't want. You want it to be nice and transient and punchy. Next, I'm going to pop on a compressor. Let's turn that one on. So I've got a 4:1 ratio, so it's sort of medium level of compression. And I'm going to knock my threshold back until it's taking about 3 to 4 dB off. You can see in this graph here how much it's going. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Somewhere around there. There's a few louder hits in this, so we're going to use quite a bit of compression. And then with the makeup gain, I'm going to put it back up to 3 dB. There we go. And I've got a sort of medium-ish attack on there. The attack's too quick. Again, we're going to be losing too much of the initial punch. I'm going to pull that one back a bit. One thing to be careful of, when you first open your compressor in Logic, you will see you've got auto gain already put on. So it's automatically doing the makeup gain to minus 12 dB. So the first thing you want to do with any compression setting, just turn the auto gain off. And similarly with the attack and the release, you might find auto selected. So again, I'm going to take that off. That way I can set my own attack and release times, and I can set my own gain. What it might be worth doing is saving this as your default instead, so that when next time you load it up, you haven't got to remember to turn these off. Go back to my kick setting. Okay, so we've got a gated kick, it's a little bit punchier with that compression. Let's move on to the EQ, and this is where it gets a little bit extreme. So what I have done is turn these off one by one. So to start with, I've just got a high pass filter, just filtering anything below 20. You can't hear below that, it just gets rid of any sort of sub or low end rumble. I try and do that on every instrument just out of course of habit really. Just gets rid of anything that we don't need. There's no information down there that's useful, so why include it? Next up, I've got a boost around the sort of 70 to 80 region. And it's just giving us a bit more power in that lower end. And you can kind of vary where that is. It's normally somewhere between sort of 60 and 100. For me, this track, looking at the analyzer, a lot of the low end is around that sort of 70 mark, so I'll put it there. Okay, and then let's move on to the next one. So I'm going to start scooping some of this mid out. With a kick drum, good thing to look at is the smiley face EQ. So a lot of low end, not much in the mid, just scooping that. A bit of a boost at the top to give it that click and punch. So again, cycling through this, I found, by boosting it, there was a bit of a honky sound around the sort of 200, 250 mark. It's quite boxy there, you hear that nasty click. So I'm going to get rid of some of that. Just define it a bit more. Same thing around the 500 region. I got a nice broad dip in the mid frequencies just to give it that punch. And then at the top end, got a boost around 2.5K. Quite an extreme boost, sort of 7 dB, just to really get that click out. If you look at the original analyzer, there's just nothing going on in this top end, so we really need to artificially boost it. And then the same at the very top around the sort of 5 to 7.5K. So a lot punchier now if you compare. Off, then on. So you could leave it as that and be quite happy with that as a starting point. However, I've gone one step further to add a bit more extreme EQ using the vintage graphic EQ. So this was set up with defined frequency bands, and it just adds a bit of kind of natural distortion as well to the sound, so a bit more kind of overdrive like an analog circuit. And I've done a similar thing, so I've boosted around the sort of 60-70 mark, cut between sort of 200 and 500, and then again boosted right up at that top end, that 2 to 7K, and then adds a little bit of drive with this distortion control just to give it a bit of that analog warmth. Let's hear it without, and then with. So you get a much more punchy defined top end with that. And this drive control just adds a bit of saturation. And then finally, just to round it all off, after that extreme EQ, I've just put a sort of subtle compressor using the sort of 1176 style, so the studio effects, just on a 2:1 ratio, just kind of evening out those peaks that I've added with the EQ. So again, I'm taking about 3 to 4 dB off, just going to boost it back up at the end. 2:1, slowish attack, fastest release, and I just pop the limiter on just to catch any real peaks. It's just evening it out at the end. So I turn them all off, and one by one put them on. So noise gate, isolating that kick drum, first compressor, evening out the level, first EQ, just shaping the sounds, bit of low, bit of high, not much mids. Graphic EQ doing the same thing but a bit more extreme with some sort of subtle distortion. And then finally a 1176 compressor just to even it out. Okay, moving on to the snare drum. Right, so on my snare drum, I've got again a noise gate first of all, just to isolate the sound of the snare. It's not quite as much build this time, but again we can just knock that threshold back, get rid of that hi-hat. Again, fast attack. If it's too long, you get that horrible fading sound, so I'll put it back about 5 to 10 milliseconds. Quite a quick hold, quite a quick release. You just want to isolate that sound on its own. Compression, I've got a 4:1 ratio again. And again, I'm looking to get about 3 to 4 dB off. Boosting it back up with the makeup gain. Slow attack, quick release, just evening out that sound. Bypass. Shouldn't be too much level difference between the two, just evening out those peaks. And then my EQ. Let's turn all these off. So again, I've got a high pass filter around the sort of 100 mark this time, because there's no information below that. You can roll that back till we start losing it. set too high, you get a thin sound. So around about 90, 100 sounds pretty good to my ears. And then give a bit of a sort of low mid boost around here, around the 150 mark. Just add a bit of body back in. However, I need then to cut around the sort of 200 as there was a bit of a honk from that. If I turn that up, you hear it. Really nasty sounds. So I'm just going to scoop that one out. You can find these just by going from the top to the bottom and just listen for any problem frequencies. There it is. So I'll get rid of him. Similarly, around the sort of 500-600, there was a similar boxy sound. So again, scooping that one out. Bit of a boost around 2.5, and a bit of a boost at the top end around 7.5. Just add a bit of air back into it. So off, on. Bit punchier. Finally on the snare, I'm just using a bit crusher. So similar to the lo-fi effects in Pro Tools, what this is doing is just adding a little bit of distortion at the end, a bit of saturation, make more of the snare wire sounds. So I've just added a bit of drive with the drive control. I'm keeping the resolution at 24-bit. I don't want it to be actual bit crushed. I'm just using it for the distortion. Similarly, I don't want to downsample it. That's not what we're going for. And I've just got the mix on 50%, so we've got a blend of the dry sound and the distorted sound. Just adds a bit of oomph at the end. So our left, right, and overheads are all pretty similar and straightforward. So my left, I've panned it to the left, about sort of 3 o'clock-ish. The right is going about 9 o'clock, opposite on the right. And then we've just got an EQ on this. All I'm doing is scooping out any of that kind of the shell of sound I don't want. I really want this just to be in my cymbals. Just get rid of any of this stuff. Hear quite a bit of kick there. If it's too high, you lose everything. So for this track, somewhere around the 200 mark sounds right. You can give a boost at the sort of top ends if you want to hear more of the cymbals, but it's already quite a brittle sound in this track, so I'm not going to do it on this occasion. But sometimes if you need a bit more brightness from the overheads, it can help. I'm just going to match that with my right channel. So with my overheads, all I've got, EQ, similarly, just rolling off any of that kind of low end murk we don't want in the sounds. I've got it a little lower than the overheads, so I do want some of the shells coming through. This is more of our room sounds, the overall drum kit. So without, it's a lot of kick. With, just reduces that slightly. And all three of our overheads, left, right overhead. Snare spot. Then I've got all my drums going out of a drum bus, which is this one here, and on that I'm just going to put a sort of bus compression. So again, if you recall your default setting, this time I'm using the Studio FETs compressor, so it's a copy of the sort of 1176 style, and turn an auto gain off. Setting it auto off here, and then I'm just going to have a 2:1 ratio, a sort of slow, medium, slow attack, medium, fast release. Again, just going to look to even it out about 3 dB-ish. It's way too much. It's more like it. Shouldn't be too much level difference. Logic, you can find this under audio units, Softube saturation knob, as long as you downloaded it. It's free, so you can get that one. And then just pop a bit of distortion on it. Again, you don't want to go too much. We're in industrial. So a little bit of saturation. Give it that sort of. So finally, the last thing you can do, maybe with your snare, just add a bit of reverb. So with reverb, don't put it straight on the channel. You want to use it as a send, the save CPU, and it also allows you to put everything in the same space, in the same room, using the same reverb for everything. So I'm going to go to a spare bus. I've got bus 5 set here. And so what we're going to do is create a bus. And on this, I'm going to use this as my reverb. I'm going to put it into stereo this time. Put it in stereo. I'm going to go Space Designer. And I'm just going to use a preset for this. I'm going to use a medium plate. Just use a drum plate. Don't want too much, just a little bit of room. And then roll a little bit of that onto our snare. You can also put a bit on the overhead if you want to, again, just give a bit more of that room sound. And then all together.